I survived Minecraft Hardcore for 100 days. However, the catch is, every 6 in-game days, the version updates, carrying me from release 1.0 to 1.16. This video was inspired by Luke the Noble's 100 Days in Hardcore series. With that out of the way, I'll hand it off to day 1. I spawned in on day 1 and I saw a village. I went and chopped down some trees and almost died on day 1. I found a dungeon right below the village and claimed a villager's house as mine, but I needed a bed to sleep, so I went out, sheared some sheep, and got one. On day 2, I explored a bit and found another village. This one had 2 houses though, and is this really even a village? I mean, look at it. I also made full leather armor, and I made some bread. On day 3, I farmed more wheat and expanded a villager farm by a row. Looking back, all I can say is, why did I do this? I think I only used like once after I built it. Anyways, that's really all I did on day 3. Disappointing. On day 4, I made an iron pickaxe and sword. Then I went mining and gathered enough iron to make full iron armor. I was a protected boy now, and it would take a couple more hits to kill me. And you know what? I slept in my bed knowing I wasn't dying to mobs. On day 5, I did a bit of exploring, but I mostly mined. By the other village I found, there was a ravine with a dungeon. I actually stayed in the caves until day 8. Yeah, 3 days. But on day 6, I found diamonds. I found more diamonds throughout the next 3 days, and by the time I was out, I had enough diamonds to pick up a pick, sword, and an enchantment table. In the midst of all this on day 7, I updated to 1.1, meaning apples could finally fall from trees. On day 9, I spent the day in the nearby forest cutting down trees to get some apples. In 1.1, regular golden apples could be crafted from 8 gold nuggets in 1 apple. They're extremely cheap, so you know I made a bunch of them. On day 10, I did a bit more apple picking and made an enchantment table. However, I needed sugarcane to make the bookshelves, so I got a bunch, and on the morning of day 11, I made the bookshelves. I then spent the rest of the day trying to get a max level enchantment table while also making the room look nice. Note to self, I suck at building in old versions. On day 12, I needed food, so I took to the plains with my flint and steel in hand and burned animals and then killed them while they were on fire. If you didn't know, this drops their cooked variant of food. I made some bread too, but then it was time. I went down the caves and mined 10 obsidian and made a nether portal. On day 13, I didn't go to the nether, but rather fished and went to the jungle. This is because the version is now 1.2.5 and I want a cat. I attempted to tame an ocelot, but I needed more fish, so I fished until dusk. I had enough fish to tame the ocelot, and I did. I named him Sir Meowsers and took him back to my base and spent the rest of the day picking apples. This is a common trend. On day 15, I was a man in search of melons. They generate in jungles, but I feel stupid now because I should have known they didn't generate yet since even cocoa pods weren't generating on trees. I spent the entire day searching and found nothing. This is also going to be a common trend. Disheartened by my search, on day 16 I went to the nether to change things up. However, I was immediately met with a terrible spawn. I wasn't falling down there without dying, so I tried to make a staircase. Once I got down, I searched high and low for a nether fortress, but we all know my luck when it comes to searching. I didn't end up finding one, so I just went to bed back at home. On day 17, I was feeling bored, so I started a new tradition. Since I'm updating, I would build a monument to that version before I update it to the next. It doesn't need to be anything special or even related to the update, it just has to be something. I also constructed Monument Road, where I would place the monuments. I was just focused on building the monument. 1.2 is going to be a blacksmith shop. Still working on the monument, but I finished it, and I say it looks great. On day 19, it was 1.3.2 time, and you know what was added in 1.3? Desert temples. So I spent the entire day looking for a desert temple, but knowing my luck and searching, I came up empty-handed once more. I just MLG portaled to go back home, but you can't have blocks in front of portals in these old versions, otherwise they won't light, so I had to make it the long way. Day 20 was a day I'd say was wasted. I started by shearing some sheep and then proceeded to trade with the villagers of my village. After that, I fished because I needed 10 cooked fish for a trade. That was all of day 20 summed up in about 30 seconds. On day 21, I went to the jungle again. I went to a farther out jungle though, since in 1.3, cocoa pods now generate on trees, and I wanted some cocoa beans, so I went out to the jungle and found some cocoa beans. Unfortunately, the journey was a bit long and I didn't get home until day 23. On day 24, I started to work on the 1.3 monument. It's going to be a tower with an emerald atop. I finished it on day 24 as well. Today I listened to the updated sounds of Minecraft 1.4. I did some mining and dyed some sheep red, but you know what else is red? The subscribe button, and if you could hit that and turn on notifications, that would really help me out a bunch. Anyways, I was gonna make a little concession stand in the village for fun. It was pretty small, but it looked alright for 1.4. I was in the Nether for day 26, 27, and 28, and I was looking for a Nether fortress. It took me about 800 blocks to get there, but I found one. I got a bunch of blaze rods so I never have to walk all the way back, and on my way home, I almost died and chugged 6 gapples, as you naturally would. On day 29, I went to the forest for some saplings to grow my own trees. I then proceeded to make just a couple of brewing stands. I brewed up some fire resistance potions, but wanted 8-minute ones, instead of the cheap off-brand 3-minute ones, so I went to the Nether for some glowstone. Finally, 24 minutes of fire resistance is in my brewing stand. On day 30, I built the 1.4 monument after expanding the path. I dug up some more gravel and did a night run on mobs. On day 31, I woke up to the redstone update, something I have no idea how to do, so I just view 1.5 as 1.4.8. Although today was a productive day, and I did some exploring. I went mining in a mineshaft and found some diamonds. I spent most of day 32 traveling home, and at night I made an anvil, so now I can repair my gear. On day 33, I spent the day constructing a strip mine. This actually took the whole day just to get a ladder down to bedrock since I got distracted by a cave. Day 34 was a big day. I was making a zombie farm. Since I've had a dungeon underneath my home, it was about time I turned this into an XP grinder. I slept that night in the zombie pen. I finished constructing the flow system today and worked on a kill chamber for the rest of the day. I slept in the kill chamber that day too for some reason. On day 36 I constructed the 1.5 monument. It's nothing big, but it's dumb anyways. It'll push a redstone block to light a lamp. Pretty useless if you ask me. On day 37 I woke up to the thoughts of horses from 1.6. I traveled through the Nether a bit and built a portal to about 2,000 blocks in the overworld. I dug out and I was under an ocean for some reason, so I boated up to the plains and searched for horses. I found some and decided to sleep amongst them. On day 38 I tamed a horse. I'll name this one Donald. Unfortunately for Donald, he was soon gone by this horse in which I named Joe, but soon after I found a horse better than Joe. I'll name this one Morshoe. By then it was getting late, so I slept. On day 39, I returned home. With Morshoe, I was unstoppable, unless the mobs had enough rubies. Good thing though, because rubies don't exist in Minecraft. So I built him a cage and decided this was going to be the 1.6 monument. On day 40, I crafted some Eyes of Ender, and took to the stronghold with Morshoe. I want to kill the Ender Dragon before 1.9. My last eye broke, and I decided to dig down randomly, and somehow I landed in the stronghold. I was pretty shocked, as you can tell by my chat reaction. I looked around for the portal room, but I couldn't find it, so I built the staircase up and pillared up. I slept up there. It was cool. I awoke on day 41 and returned home. Good luck seeing that through this corrupted footage, though. I swear almost all of day 41 is corrupted footage. I think I built the 1.6 out of cobblestone. It smoothed out when I did some horse riding towards the end of the day, though. On day 42, I rode home and did some pearl hunting at night. I didn't get any pearls, though. It's time for 1.7 on day 43. I was so happy that I could finally sprint with control. I was going to do a bunch of exploring in 1.7, so I wanted to make the most of my 6 days. However, that's not what I did, as I went to the stronghold and kept looking for the portal room. I ended up having to sleep in there. On day 44, I had a plan to find the portal room. I was going to locate the starter staircase, and from there, it's only 5 rooms away. I didn't end up finding it till the end of the day, though. I finally found the portal room, but of course it's a 0 eye, so I put my 1 eye of Ender in and rode home. I enchanted until night came and slept. On day 46, I went back to my horse portal and went the other way to find some 1.7 biomes. I wanted acacia wood and dark oak wood. I found acacia right off the bat, but dark oak was going to take a little longer. I climbed atop Morshoe and rode to new chunks on day 47. I found a birch forest, but not a dark oak forest. I finally found one and chopped trees until sunset. On day 48, I rode home and built the 1.7 monument, a villager house made of half acacia and half dark oak. I was finished by nightfall and went to sleep not very proud of my 1.7 feats. On day 49, I was interested in enchantment, since in 1.8 the enchanting system was completely changed to only take 3 levels instead of all 30 for a level 30 enchantment. Although my enchantments would need to wait, since now I had a 6-day period to kill the Ender Dragon, so I did another night run and got 2 pearls. On day 50, it was the halfway mark to 100, but I didn't care because I was more concerned about killing the Ender Dragon before 1.9. I rode Morshu to the stronghold and plopped my 6 eyes of ender into the portal. Now I only need 5 more. I rode Morshu home and did some night running. My sword was going to break soon, so I made a new one and went to my enchantment table. As if a blessing from God, I was granted looting 3, making it possible to get 4 ender pearls in one drop. My night running became so much easier now that I had looting, and I finished off the night with 17 ender pearls. On day 51, I went back to my horse portal. Took me a day of travel to get there because my portals were messed up by 1.8. On day 52, I arrived underground and I came up. I had a plan and a need. It was simple to get food. I've been needing food for so long, so I came out with a bunch of it. Day 53 was going to be the day I would kill the Ender Dragon. I had prepared a bunch of beds and I took to the end on the back of Morshu. I dropped him off in his cage and entered the portal. I spawned underground and I had to dig up. Once I had gotten up, I bridged across a small gap and drank a speed 2 potion. I then proceeded to shoot down almost all the crystals. After that, I almost killed myself with an ender pearl. I then channeled my inner 1.8 SSG skills and proceeded to almost die to a double charge by the dragon. Fitting. I laid down a couple more beds on him and killed him. I almost died more to myself than him. On day 54, I went out to try and find the dragon egg since it went through the portal. It would be at world spawn, but I finally found it and took it back to my base. I built a little shrine, and that would be the 1.8 monument. I did a swamp night run for slimes, and you'll know why I need slime soon. But of course, it was a new moon, meaning slimes couldn't spawn at all. On day 55, it was time for the 1.9 combat update. I instantly made a shield and went to the Nether to try and get some gas tiers so I wouldn't have to fly over the end void, but I couldn't. So I returned home, and at night, I went back to the swamp and got some slime. On day 56, I did some mining in a cave from the older versions. I needed some redstone since I was going to be needing it in correlation with my slime. I almost died. That's fun. On day 57, I spent the day outside my house testing a flying machine. That's right, I'm flying over the void. Admittedly, I forgot how to make a flying machine, so I looked up a YouTube tutorial and got it working. Tomorrow, my biggest expedition was going to start. On days 58, 59, 60, 61, and 62, I was in the end. I began by running over to the stronghold since Morshu was still there. I entered the end, I set up my flying machine not directly over the end void, so if I fell at the beginning I could pearl back to the island. I started the machine and it went. My eyes stayed on the screen the entire time. I even took my food up to my desk and watched as I ate. Looking back, it feels kinda dumb because even if I fell out I wasn't getting back. The void was all around me. Where was I gonna go? Anyways, I made it there safe and tore down my ship. I then walked until I found my first end city. It had an end ship. I eagerly and safely built up the ship and grabbed the elytra. I did it. I got an elytra. I kept going from end city to end city, looting and killing. I even forgot to update to 1.10, but it's not that big of a problem since 1.10 is just 1.9.5. On day 63, I constructed the 1.9 monument. It was the first elytra I ever found. Then, I went mining for the rest of the day. How fun! On day 64, I had officially obtained 1 stack of days. I went to the Nether to get the only interesting thing about 1.10, magma blocks. It was pretty risky considering I couldn't rocket boost myself yet, so to get back, I pillared up and flew back. Thankfully, I made it. When I got back, I did another night run. Don't really know why I did it though. Did some more mining and night running on day 65. Don't know what I gained from this, but it happened. On day 66, I constructed the 1.10 monument. I think I've just been waiting for 1.10 to be over. Maybe that's why I've been mining and night running. Day 67 was 1.11 day. I had so many plans for 1.11 that I just can't wait to do them. But today I made a bunch of rockets and returned to the end again, looted more end cities and got some pretty nice loot. On day 68 I took to the Nether. I needed to get farther out to find a woodland mansion. I found a desert that has 3 villages and 2 desert temples. I also learned that in 1.11, flying out of the middle of a desert temple crashes your game. I did it twice. Good job, base. Today was a perfect day for oddities since it was day 69, and the first village I went to was a zombie village. Cool. However, every single zombie villager was a baby zombie villager chicken jockey. Never seen this many chicken jockeys at once. Nice. On day 70, I found a village, and it had a cartographer. Now I needed to start getting emeralds to level them up and buy that Woodland Explorer map. On day 71, I finally had enough emeralds to buy the Explorer map. This one was incredibly cheap. They're usually about 27 emeralds. I bought it and I took to the skies. Took me almost the whole day to fly to the mansion. I was able to clear the entire first floor before it was time to sleep. I continued to clear the mansion on day 72, and I got a Totem of Undying. I actually got 2 totems. I was done clearing the mansion and checked around for secret rooms. This one had a few of them. On day 73, it was time for me to go home. After all, it's version 1.12 now. I built a portal and flew home. Once I got there, I did some exploring with my elytra around my home area. New chunks weren't actually that far. On day 74, I built the 1.11 monument. It's the Explorer map. I also shortened the length of the enchantment house. On day 75, I wanted to improve my area just a bit. I made this villager house look nicer, and I tore down the portal shack and built a new cave out of netherrack and put a portal in there. I think it looks awesome. On day 76, I put a layer of dirt around my portal cave and touched up on the enchantment shack just a little bit more. Towards the end of the day, I went back to the stronghold and finally brought more shoe back home. On day 77, I set out to get a wolf. I hadn't thought to get a wolf for 77 days, and they've literally been in the world since day 1. So I set out. It took a little while, but I got one. I'll name this guy Rocky. I also started on a bridge for more shoe towards the end of the day. I worked on the bridge for the entire day of day 78, and I got most of it finished. I kept working on the bridge on day 79. It was fitting since it was going over water, which is the theme of the 1.13 update which I'm on now. On day 80, 81, and 82 I was in the end. I found a glitched end city, meaning it kept spawning the same loot table in every chest. This was especially cool because it kept spawning 7 diamonds. I had to relog those since this was the update where they absolutely butchered the game's chunk loading and server performance. I came home, emptied out my boxes, and headed to the ocean. Found a line of 1.13 chunks when I was looking for a shipwreck. I finally found one and slept outside of it. On day 83 I had found a buried treasure map and went to seek it out. I found it and pulled open the chest. There was some okay loot in there, but I wanted the heart of the sea. Since chunk loading sucks, this is one of the last times you'll see me exploring. Also, I built the 1.12 monument well into 1.13, but I have the monument now, so it's fine. On day 84, I worked on the 1.13 monument and used my Heart of the Sea as the item in the item frame. I think 1.13's monument looks pretty cool. On day 85, I updated to 1.14, the Village and Pillage update. I instantly went over to the village with 3 villagers now and captivated one for mending. I got the book and spent some time trying to get enough emeralds. I flew home with 22 emeralds and went to bed. On day 86, I went back to the village to get mending books. However, I needed more XP to put mending on my armor, so I fixed up the zombie farm to work on modern versions. On day 87, I did some zombie farming and expanded the kill zone since entity cramming would kick in once there were more than 24 zombies there. Now I could have up to 72 zombies there. I also built the 1.14 monument, which was a crossbow. On day 88 and 89, I was in the end and got more loot. Why do I keep doing this? On day 90, I emptied out my shulker boxes and made some campfires for the next update. The house that was inaccessible from the ground the entire time was going to be my bee farm. I also built a nice little fire pit outside my home. On day 91, I updated to 1.15. I was going to 1.15 chunks to find a bee nest. I only had a silk touch shovel though, so I had to break them with that. On day 92, I found a pillager outpost next to the forest. I killed the captain and flew home. I was going to do a raid. I set up my bee nests once I got home and went to bed. On day 93, I began the raid. In the middle of the raid, a wandering trader showed up. I was able to clear most of the waves until the evokers summoned in a bunch of Vex. I had to fly back home and sleep. I hate the Vex in hardcore. Allow me to show you why. On day 94, I continued the raid today, and I won! I had 6 totems now, and I went back home to empty out my inventory. I built the 1.15 monument today, and it was a Totem of Undying. Then a pillager patrol showed up. Guess it's raid time again. I didn't plan on doing another raid, so I slurped some milk, but it also took away my hero status. On day 95, I needed to repair my elytra, so I did some AFKing at the zombie farm. I got it up pretty good. On day 96, I prepared some fireworks, not for flying, but for day 100. I also replaced the Totem of Undying in the 1.15 monument with a honeycomb block, then replaced the wood with the honeycomb block and put a honey bottle in the item frame. Much more fitting. Today it was time for the last update, 1.16. I went to the Nether and found some new chunks. I raided a bastion and got Pig Step. I popped it in my jukebox when I got home, but then remembered about how Pig Step is used on the Dream SMP. No copyright here, please. Today, I finally named the monument path Monument Road. I also built the 1.16 monument at the end of the road and wired up some redstone to the dispensers. On day 99, I put some fences around the 1.16 monument so mobs couldn't kill me while I watched the fireworks show. Yeah, I've given up on netherite for now, and then just for fun, I did some mining. Why do I do this? It was finally day 100, and what I did today was have some fun. I took Morshu out for a ride to see all the sights we could see. I had to be back before sunset since I was going to walk down Monument Road with all my pets. I began my walk, looking at every monument to the 16 updates I made over the last 100 days, ending with the fireworks show to signify the end of the challenge. It was over. I did it. I survived 100 days in hardcore Minecraft while the version updates every 6 days. After all this, I still felt unaccomplished, so that's where you guys come in. If you want to see me survive 200 days in hardcore Minecraft, please tell me in the comments down below. I'm excited to see what you guys think since it took so much effort to make this video. I literally spent 1 week playing this world only, any chance I got, and the script is 9 pages in Google Docs at font size 11, so if you could leave a like and subscribe, that would be very much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.